Welcome to Bridging Borders, the podcast where we try to bridge the gap between cultures through insightful conversations.
Together, we explore diverse topics from productivity to language learning, all the while helping you improve your English skills.
Hey, Veronica.
Hi, Sam.
How are you doing?
Yeah, doing very good. My parents just came here to Mexico all the way from Russia, so I'm extra happy today and super excited to discuss today's topic, which is, does money bring happiness?
Yeah, well, you'd have had to pay for those flights from Russia to Mexico, which would have cost a fair bit of money, and they get to see their daughter, so maybe it does.
Absolutely. Well, when I think about this way, yes, absolutely. Being able to pay all this money to see my family brought me a lot of just positive, positive emotions. Yeah, and definitely made me very happy.
So when was the last time you saw them in person?
1 year and 7 months ago.
That's a really long time not to see your mom and dad.
Absolutely. Yeah. And so right now, well, I have a brother and a sister, but unfortunately my sister couldn't come. So hopefully I'll be able to see her next year because right now here in Mexico City, I only have my dad, my mom, and my brother. But, it's still very exciting for my family. It's a very new and very different experience. And I'm happy to be here for them and help them with Spanish and English because they can't really speak English or Spanish.
Okay, wow. So you're the personal translator.
Yeah, absolutely.
Great. Did they even recognize you when they saw you?
Yes, actually, I was a little bit nervous that I was gonna experience a very similar thing that I did when I lived in Turkey, because back then I didn't see my family for a year. And then I saw my family in Turkey, and I don't know, I just felt it felt kind of different. Like the moment I was like, oh, these people, I remember them obviously, but they're kind of different. Like my brother was different. He was a lot taller, a lot different. And now I think maybe my parents just didn't change much. I don't know. My mom definitely lost a lot of weight. So she looks extremely young right now. I'm like, Mom, you look like you're 33. I don't know. And she's 42.
She's 42?
Yes. She's very young.
Yeah, that's pretty young.
Yes.
Okay, nice. Are they enjoying Mexico so far?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we have like a lot of plans and we're doing a lot of touristy things. Like almost every single day we have a plan. We're like every single day we're doing something because I know that that's what my parents like to do. My parents really like having a plan because I know maybe some of you guys listening, you might be thinking, oh, that's very stressful. Like every single day you wake up, you do something like a real tourist. That's horrible. I hate it. But for my parents, for my family, that's how they feel calm and relaxed. Like when they know what's going on, when they know that every single hour they're doing something either interesting or relaxing. It doesn't have to be like go, go, go every single hour, but they just like to know and have a plan.
Sure. It feels like you've taken some of your interest in productivity into itinerary scheduling.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the reason why I'm kind of the way I am, like, interested in productivity and time management and all of that is obviously because of my family. Like I grew up this way.
So you're not in their room at 6 o'clock in the morning with an alarm saying, get up now, we've got to go out for breakfast.
Well, not like that.
Okay.
No, for us, like the sleeping routine is sacred.
Okay.
Like it's important to give every single person enough time to relax, to sleep. If you want to go to bed at 8 p.m., it's okay. Because my parents are still pretty jet lagged. So obviously, yeah.
So out of all the things you've planned so far, what is the thing you're looking forward to the most?
I think us going to the beach together. Talking about this topic of like, does money bring happiness? Obviously, my parents coming here and all of the expenses that I have right now, I'm spending quite a lot of money on all of that, but I know that it makes my family extremely happy and it makes me happy. Like, first of all, I'm doing it for myself. I know that my parents love me and care about me no matter what. Like, they don't need me to spend so much money on everything, but I want to. And of course, they appreciate it a lot. So, on Sunday, we're going to the beach because my parents always had this dream of being on the beach in like November, December, because in Russia right now there's snow. So it's just like for them, it's a very interesting just thinking process because they're like, oh, it's so strange how like in Russia there's snow, it's so cold, but here it's summer and we can swim and we can just like, it's completely different. So I'm very excited for that.
Yeah, they're definitely going to send some photos to people back home. Like, look at us enjoying the nice weather. You losers.
Yeah, they're doing it every single day right now. Like every single day, they're sending out probably like 70 new photos to
Yeah.
all our friends and family. Yeah.
So I want you to think about the time in your life, your adult life, where you've been earning the least amount of money and the time where you've been earning the most amount of money. And do you think there is some correlation between those 2 points and your happiness or, your well-being?
Mm-hmm. Yes, I think there is, but I don't think it's coming directly from money.
Mm,
Obviously, I'm gonna like explain my point of view. I think that when I was earning the least amount of money, I was also just not very happy with my job. And that was the main problem. It was not that I was not earning enough. Of course, that maybe like made me upset too, but it was more so that I didn't like my job. And I know so many people who have an amazing job. It pays very good money, but they're still not happy because they just don't like it. And that's exactly what I experienced. I was working as an English teacher for kids. And when I first started, I liked it. That's why I wanted to try it out. I was still like in college, so I wanted to make some money and I started teaching English to kids in Russia, back in Russia. And first, I liked it because it was my first money. Just having money felt amazing because it was like, oh, I can teach someone and now they give me money. That's incredible. And so I was teaching, and then probably 2 years later, I did that for 2 years. I realized that it was probably not something that I wanted to continue doing. And probably the final kind of 6 months, I was feeling very unhappy because I wanted to change something, but I was not doing anything. I wanted someone to come and save me. I wanted someone to come and tell me, Veronica, here is your new job. Like, you're going to make lots of money. You're going to be very happy. Enjoy. But, life doesn't work this way. If you want to change something, you have to do it. And that's why it took me quite some time to actually stop complaining and start doing something.
that's a good point. So now you're probably earning more money, I guess. Do you think earning more money has made you happier?
I think working on what I enjoy doing has made me definitely a happier person. And of course, making more money doing what I love made me a happier person too, a much happier person too. Because for me, I always look at money as a tool. Like, as a tool, why do I need an X, amount of money? Because I want to use it for this, because I want to use it for that. And especially right now with YouTube, I have a lot of expenses when I work with other people, and that adds more stress and responsibility. So sometimes you just have to really think about it. Oh, like, do you want to go to this next level and like try to earn more? But if you do, maybe it's going to mean that you have to hire people and you have to pay them. And that is obviously a lot of stress and a lot of responsibility, because right now I'm not just making money for myself, I'm making money to pay all the other people. And so it really depends. It depends on, again, like, what are you using it for?
Yeah, I think I feel the same. So remember my first job. It was when I was 17. Well, I had a paper round when I was a lot younger, so but I don't really count that. And then my first proper job was I was employed by a pound shop because I was
What's
17.
that?
Just a shop that's everything in the shop is £1.
Ah, it's like a dollar store. Okay,
Yeah,
got it.
and
Interesting.
you have loads of jokers coming up to you and asking, "How much is this? How much is
A
this?" And
pound.
of course, yeah. And after the 100th time you hear that, yeah, you're pretty fed up with hearing that joke.
Mhm.
But yeah, that was the first job I had, and I was 17, and I was just asking. I was getting to that age where I was going out with my friends more, and I was asking my mum for money for beer and other things. And obviously, they were going to say no at some point. Like, we can't just give you £20 a week to drink beer with your friends. So they told me I had to get a job, and all my other friends had jobs then. So we just went to a few places, dropped some CVs off, as a resume that's what we call them in England, CVs. And I dropped them off at a pound shop, and they were the first person to call me back. So I had an interview there, and I accepted it. And it was so degrading. I earned £3 73 an hour, which is less than $3, I think. Um, yeah, it wasn't good, and I was just on a till all day, and just hundreds of customers coming through, and you're just packing bags, asking, can I interest you in buying these chocolates or whatever, because they gave us like sales targets, and it's just packing bags all day, and I hated that. It was Saturday and Sunday, 12 till 8, both days, and I guess if I had money at that time, I wouldn't have to do that, and it wouldn't made me so miserable. And I guess I've had other jobs like working a night shift in supermarkets where I really didn't enjoy that as well. And if I had money, then maybe I'd be happier. I think, yeah, I think now I'm probably earning the most I have. And I think my, I wouldn't say this is the happiest I've been. I'd say that maybe being at university in the last year of university and spending it with all my friends was probably a better moment, because right now I'm just focused on work a lot more, and then I was just focused on fun. So I don't think it's entirely correlated for me, but yeah, I can see, I guess because I'm saving money as well now, I don't actually get to enjoy any of the money that I really get to that I'm earning. And if I was maybe spending it on experiences and going on holiday a bit more, then maybe my happiness would shoot up.
Hmm. It's funny because I remember when I was in college, I was very sad. It was definitely not the happiest moment in
Hmm.
my life because it was difficult for me to live with this idea of, oh, I'm going to college every single day, but I want to start making more money. And it was constantly like I had this job, I started teaching more, I started teaching online. And I was also going to classes, and it was always like, oh, but I'm here, but I could be making more money, but I'm still here, but I need more money. And it's just like this constant battle. And then one day, I think when I was, because my major was Chinese, the Chinese language. So basically, I mean, my career path was I could become like a Chinese teacher, maybe a translator, an interpreter, like lots of things connected to obviously Chinese. And one day I was just, I don't know, sitting at home and I was like, I don't actually want to do it anymore.
Hmm.
Like, why am I here? What's going on? And yeah, it also kind of correlated with me starting a YouTube channel too, and like realizing that I am finally in control. Like, it's not that I have classes and I have to do like this and that, like what people tell me to do. I can do my own thing, and I can like change, like if a video didn't perform well, it's kind of like all on me. And maybe for some of you, it might sound like a lot of responsibility and a lot of stress. But for me, it was exciting because finally I could kind of change everything about everything. Because even when I taught kids, for example, of course, I could change the way I was teaching English, but at the same time, it was still kind of on them if they practiced at home, if they did their homework. And many of them didn't, because they were very little. They were like 6 years old, 7 years old. And to be honest, like I did not even expect that from many of them. I had a few students who were actually like serious. They really, really liked English, like, and they were only like 9, 10 years old, which was incredible. So yeah.
Yeah, I guess I'm the same because I work for myself, so I get to have a bit more control over my day, and I can basically, if I want the day off tomorrow, I could, but I would have to let down a few students, which I wouldn't want to do. But yeah, I can plan my schedule. I can decide ultimately how much I work as long as people are interested in working with me, and I like that freedom as well. I don't like uh, not being told what to do, but I don't like following other people's ideas, and I'd prefer to kind of be the ruler of my own kingdom, even if it was really very small, rather than just like a tiny cog in a big machine. But
Yeah.
what have you observed in other people? And maybe we can think about some of the extremes. So maybe people who are super rich and super poor.
Mhm.
Do you think there is a correlation between happiness and money there? Or what have you observed?
I just honestly think that when it comes to being happy, like you saying that, oh, I feel happy. And even, for example, Sam, what you just shared is a great example because you said that maybe you were the happiest when you were in college. Because I think this state of being happy, happiness is influenced by different factors, not just money. Money is, for some people, it's a part of feeling happy. But there are other things that influence that as well. For example, your health, or like some aspects of your life, relationships, and all of that. And also, when you, for example, people who are extremely rich, they have to take care of the fact that they have to protect all this wealth. They have
Mm,
to make sure they accumulate more wealth. Like you have to be smart about your money. It's, if obviously if you want to become more wealthy, just be confident in your financial situation, because if you're reckless, you're just going to lose it, like this very quickly. And the same thing with, for example, people who don't have as much money. Uh, Maybe they don't have as much money, but for them to kind of cover all of their necessities, it's enough. So that's why I always say that, like, I treat money as a tool. If I am happy with this thing, and let's say, I don't know, I'm happy with having a new iPhone every 5 years, then I don't need to save money for a new iPhone every single year. But if you're not, if you need to have a new iPhone every single year, then you have to find an opportunity to make more money to, buy a new iPhone every single year. I don't think it's a good or a bad thing to want to buy a new iPhone every single year, every 5 years. It just depends on your priorities, your wants and needs. And if it's something you want, something you need, then okay, go for it. But you have to be smart about it and think about it. Like, how am I actually gonna do it? Um, so that's what I think.
yeah, I think you raised some really good points there that it's not just money that makes people happy, and there are other things to think about like health and relationships. And I think expectations are really is a really important factor as well. So a nice example I can think of is imagine someone opens their results to a great like an exam they did, and they get a C grade and they pass. If that person was expecting an A star, they're going to be very sad. If someone was expecting to fail and they passed, they're going to be incredibly happy. Both of them had the same outcome, both got the same result, but due to their expectations, it changed the way that they reacted to that result. So I think when you perhaps are are around people who are more wealthy or more successful than you, or maybe you live in a culture like the UK or America where money is kind of more important, and these countries are a bit more individualistic. Marketing is, advertising is crazy here. They're constantly trying to kind of create desires in you through television, through like film props. Marketing and advertising is everywhere, and they're trying to make you, buy things and want more things. And if this desire keeps growing and growing, and you kind of expect to be able to afford these things, maybe because other people around you have, then yeah, it might make you more sad. And if you
Yeah.
looked at perhaps the richest country in the world, which I guess is the United States, they probably have some of the highest unhappiness levels, and the amount of people on perhaps medication for mental health, or just the amount of psychological problems there, or problems of addiction, or just general unhappiness or loneliness is probably a lot higher than some countries where um, on average people earn less. And I'm sure lots of people have been on holiday and they've gone to a country where it's less developed than they've been perhaps, or they've spent time with people who don't earn as much money as them, and they've said, oh wow, these people are really happy. And it's because maybe they don't have that expectation, or maybe they, like you said, they focus on other things, family and relationships like this. It's what's important for you. If being really rich is really important to you and you're not really rich, is going to make you sad. But if being really rich is not important to you, then it's not going to make you sad. But I think as long as we're obviously talking if people are covering the basics, like you said, if people can afford to live decently, with a home over their head, which is suitable for the people living there, and they have enough to be comfortable, then I think, yeah, yeah, guess it depends on your priorities.
Yeah, and I think when a person starts thinking about all of those kind of like taboo topics, because unfortunately, in many countries, money is still this kind of like I don't really want to talk about it. Recently, I just realized that it's very important to dig deeper. Let's say you just said that a person wants to be extremely rich. Why? Like always
Hmm.
asking this question, why? And especially if you can have this kind of like brainstorming session with a professional where you just sit down and you like answer all of these questions extremely honestly. And this person is a professional, they can give you feedback and they can help you, like they can guide you among all of these questions. Because like sometimes, okay, I just want to be extremely rich. Why? There's so many different reasons for different people. Maybe one person is just going to be like, oh, I was watching this movie and I saw this person, or it's like social media is making me want to make more money. But like, okay, more money, how much money? When you say you want to be rich, like what does it mean? Do you want to have a house, or do you want to make like this amount of money every single year, every single month? Like what does it mean to you? And when you actually like write everything down and you understand that, okay, if I make this amount of money, then what do I do with it? Like, why do you need this amount of money? Okay, you're like, oh, I'm going to spend more money on traveling. Why do you want to spend more money on traveling? And if you start making more money, probably it means that you will have to work more. It's like this famous phrase, how like first I hated this 9 to 5 job. It was horrible. And then I decided to work for myself. And now I work 24/7.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's true. Yeah. It's always important to just think like what, like, and dig deeper, as I always say, like, why do you want to change that? Why do you want to make more money? Why you're not happy with this situation? Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder what our cultural difference is on money as well, because in the UK it's a very capitalist country, and having wealth and earning a lot more is kind of, it puts you up on the hierarchy, and people kind of are impressed by you, and the amount that you earn or the amount of money you have is basically just a symbol of how successful you are or what car you drive. You know, when people see someone driving a nice car and they're wearing a nice suit, or they they know that they earn lots of money, it's like, well, that person was successful, well done them. um
Hmm.
and I was wondering, maybe what it's like in Russia, like growing up. Is money something, I guess in the UK most people want to be wealthy. Do you think that's the same in Russia, obviously because very political different backgrounds historically?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit different. I think it's, yeah, because of history and politics, it's very different in a way that many people in Russia think that making a lot of money is a bad thing. It's going
Mm.
to corrupt you as a person. Maybe just because they don't see all of the wealth that our government is accumulating in a very like weird way. They just like want to ignore all of that and think that no, like we, making this amount of money is enough. It's enough, because if we start making more money, it's gonna corrupt us. It's gonna make us bad people. But again, as I always say, why do you think so? Is it something that someone else told you? Do you actually believe that? Or do you just say it as an excuse because you want to criticize other people? Maybe you feel jealous and all of those things. Yeah, because for me, I also felt that for a very long time. I remember that's why it was hard for me to kind of stop teaching English to kids and try to think about something else to do, because first of all, I was teaching them offline. So every single time, sometimes I would have to go to their place and I would spend like an hour going there and back. And then obviously they only paid me for the lesson. And I just felt so bad to ask for more money or to ask for, to start online lessons and all of that. And now I understand why, because I just wanted to always seem like a good person. I wanted everyone to think of me as a good like person, and I'm amazing and I'm great. But again, it like goes deeper. And now I understand that like not everyone is going to think that I'm amazing and great, but obviously I have to, value myself and prioritize myself in many situations. So that's how it all changed for me.
There is a quote, I think it's by Dostoevsky, and I think he said, I could be wrong on both accounts here, that money is coined freedom. What do you think of that?
I've heard many people say that.
Okay.
That money is freedom. They associate money with freedom. And in a way, I agree, especially because I remember when I was moving to Mexico from Russia, the only thing that really helped me stay afloat is my savings. So I would maybe add a little bit more to this quote and say that being responsible with your money is freedom, not just money. Because if you blow all your money on weird stuff, maybe you're going to feel freedom for 5 seconds,
Yeah.
but then the reality hits you and hits you hard. And it was difficult for me at the very beginning in Mexico, because I really had to like think about all the money I was making and like try to save as much as I could. That's why originally when I moved to Mexico, I lived with a roommate, because I realized that living with a roommate means that I would save a lot of money on rent. And for me, that was very important. At the very beginning, it was important for me to save as much as I could. So,
Sure.
what do you think about it?
Yeah, I think I agree with it. Obviously, if you do have money, you usually are presented with more choices. Uh, and you could perhaps say no to some things that you don't really want to do. So if you don't like cooking and you're really rich, you could have a personal chef, for example, or you could have someone take care of your laundry or maybe clean your house. That's a little bit less expensive. So I guess it does give you freedom in a sense that you can say no to more things. And I guess you can say yes to more things as well. For example, you can have if you want to buy a car, if you have a limited budget, then your freedom to choose is a little bit narrower than if you have millions of pounds. You could probably buy most cars on the market. So I guess in a sense it is definitely true, but I guess with more money comes just different problems, and they're definitely better problems to have than having no money.
Yeah, I think it's also important to understand like that one thing, kind of like mindset change or mindset shift, really helped me too. I don't really like cleaning much. It's not my favorite thing in the world, and cooking as well. And for a very long time, I also thought that to be able to afford like cleaning services or cooking services, you really have to be making a lot of money. It really depends. It varies and depends obviously from country to country, from city to city. But what I also realized that in, let's say, like in your country, in your city, you just have to think about your options. You just sit down if you really like don't like doing it. If this is not something that you enjoy doing at all, and every single time you do it, you experience so many negative feelings, just sit down and analyze the situation. Like, okay, let's say like in my city, it costs this amount of money to hire a cleaner, let's say a cleaning person. Can I afford that? And then if the answer originally is no, then I always try to think, how can I start, affording that? How can I make it happen? And maybe it means that you have to cut back on other expenses. Maybe like stop this subscription, or stop doing that, or stop, don't buy like new clothes next month, or I don't know what else. But you can always kind of make it happen if it's extremely important for you. If it's just so important, because sometimes I sit down and I think, when I work, I can make this amount of money, but when I clean, I lose, let's say, 2 or 3 or 4 hours of my time. So instead, I could dedicate this time to something else.
Yeah, that's a great way to look at it, especially if you're self-employed and you think, oh, this is my hourly rate, for example. So, like, for example, 4 hours cleaning, that you're missing out on 4 hours of working. And I listened to a podcast the other day about money, and I can't remember who it was. Unfortunately, I can't remember his name, but he was talking about your rich life, and each individual's person will have a different rich life. And similar to what you said then, that it's important to work out what is meaningful for you and spend that money on those things. So if you really like eating out with your partner and you hate cleaning, then maybe a lot of your budget goes onto eating out and hiring a cleaner. And you might not care about a car, so you either don't have a car, or maybe you have like a really cheap car. And it's important to think about, oh, just because other people in society are kind of spending money on this, I have to do it as well. You don't, I guess. You have to think about what's important to you. And for example, you know, some of my friends spend a lot of money on clothes, and each month they will spend a reasonable amount on clothes. And I'm not that type of person where I'm constantly like checking for new clothes. I wait about every 6 months. I guess it's winter summer for me, and it's like, okay, winter's coming up. I probably might get a new jacket, maybe need some new trousers or something, and then I'll do like a big shop in one. Especially because Christmas and my birthday is the 29th of December, so it's right next to Christmas. So I not so much anymore, but I used to get a significant chunk of money from my family at December, so I could maybe spend some money on clothes then. And then when summer comes around, I'm thinking, oh, I've got this holiday, or got this holiday. I spend some money on summer clothes then. But yeah, it's not something that I'm constantly monitoring, because I know that if I do, then I'll probably just end up spending money, and I don't want to.
Absolutely. I think for me, growing up, I started valuing just high quality clothes a lot more. If something is high quality and I know that I'll be able to use it for a very long time, I'm gonna buy it. And yeah, that's why usually when I go to like Zara, let's say, I feel like right now I don't like anything from there, because I look at it, I'm like, oh my God, it's gonna like turn into, I don't know what, like into a rag in 2 months. And it's probably not a good financial decision for me to buy this right now, and even like ever. And that's why I just have like a few stores that I really like, and I like order from them, or I just go there and buy clothes from them from time to time. And yeah, as long as it's comfortable and good quality, I am very happy about that.
Yeah, that's probably a good decision for you, your wallet or your purse, and also the environment as well. So well done, you.
Yeah,
So I thought I
absolutely.
could present some research that I did just by looking at one website on some studies that have been done on the correlation between money and happiness. And in the United States, there is a correlation between money and happiness only up to a certain point. So if you earn up to $75,000, then usually the more you earn before that, the happier. Maybe there is a bit of a connection between how much you earn and your happiness. But after $75,000 a year, which will put you in the top I'm guessing 10% in the United States, you're going to be very comfortable, you're earning quite a lot of money, then it seems like the correlation between happiness and how much you earn is actually, it goes down quite significantly. So maybe that's, if you're going to aim for a target of how much you want to earn, maybe 75,000 is a good mark. That is quite a lot though, so good luck. And so they answered the question, it can make you happy. It doesn't make you it can make you happier. It doesn't make you happy because there are loads of examples of celebrities who are unhappy. You only need to go on, watch some news or read some newspaper to find out a celebrity has died, or that they're depressed or they're alcoholics. It's very sad, but obviously just having a lot of money and success doesn't bring you happiness, but it can make you happier. And one of the things that can make you happier from money is how you spend it. So like we've kind of mentioned, maybe not buying things that you don't really need or you don't really care about, but spending your money on experiences can make one happier. And also one really cool point is spending money on other people. And you can actually spend less money on other people, and it can make you happier than spending more money on yourself. So, and I think it's even up to like, you don't even have to spend that much money to make to make yourself happier. So it could look like you're being generous, but if you're not feeling too good, maybe buy someone a coffee and you're actually going to make yourself happier and maybe them happier too.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah, absolutely. Well said. It's interesting. It reminded me of this 50, 30, 20 rule. This is the budgeting technique that I personally use. Again, this is not financial advice, so you can just look it up online. But this 50, 30, 20 rule is basically you divide your money into 3 primary categories. So 50% goes to needs, like, you have to pay your rent, food, like medical insurance, like all of those things. Like you absolutely like need that, right? 30% goes to wants, all the things you want. And 20% goes to savings and debt, if you have debt, and all the debt payments. And I think it's just very important for a lot of people to realize that the money you make, some portion of this money should go to savings. And unfortunately, like so many people just forget about that. And they're like, oh, I make this amount of money. Okay, needs and wants. That's it, like 50-50, or I don't know, something like that. But no, it should be wants. And obviously, a lot of people, their goal is to try to increase their savings and decrease the amount of money they spend on wants, instead of, as you said, instead of like purchasing something unnecessarily, buying a bunch of clothes, maybe saving this money and then purchasing something else in the future.
Yeah, that's some really good advice. And I think a lot of people would, that would be really useful for them. I guess some people would also be the opposite, where they may be focusing too much on savings and they feel guilty when they spend money on themselves, especially like guilt-free spending. So yeah, I guess it depends what type of person you are. If this is not financial advice, but if you are not saving, maybe consider saving. If you're not treating yourself, maybe treat yourself.
Absolutely. Treating yourself is important. I was that person originally when I started making more money. I remember I was very stingy. I always felt very guilty when I had to spend money on myself. I would not buy clothes for myself. I would not buy anything for myself. I just saw this as unnecessary. Everything was unnecessary. I would spend money on rent, food, and then I would save everything else. I was like, that's all I need.
Yeah. Okay, great. Okay, shall we finish up there?
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you so much to everyone for listening to us today. We really hope that it was interesting for you to learn more about money and whether or not money brings happiness.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to find out what people's thoughts are on this, apart from mine and Veronica's. So if you do think money makes you happy, then you can obviously comment that your opinion, and also what do you like to spend your money on. I like to spend money on books that I don't read.
Oh, tell me about it. I
Yeah.
love it too.
Okay. Thank you, Veronica. And thank you, everyone listening.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of Bridging Borders. If you enjoyed the conversation, be sure to subscribe to the podcast for more useful insights.
Stay connected by following us on social media. You can find us at bridging_borders_podcast. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep connecting.